Welcome to the Underground, my little underground with Peter A.
It's My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Mo Dotti, LA noise pop shoegaze band, returned to the show to talk about their debut full-length album, Opaque, and Gina and Guy discuss what they call the holy trinity of LA music venues beneficial to their scene. We discussed the legendary Mark Gardner of Ride mastering their album and all the things they learned from him, and all that comes with self-releasing music and so much more. Please help me welcome back Mo Dotti to My Little Underground.
My Little Underground.
What's going on, Mo Dotti? Welcome back to My Little Underground. I'm so happy to have you all back.
We're happy to be back here too, Peter. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Big congrats. Your debut album, Opaque, it's out right now. And to kick things off, it's kind of an existential question. So, what makes Mo Dotti and this LP opaque?
I think the overall tones, they're very thick. I feel like not much can shine through. I mean, originally I was trying to find a title that related to light or something shining or but I just went with the opposite, and opaque kind of worked better, and I also like the more mysterious connotations of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it kind of makes sense listening to this album. Like, I don't really know what is happening when it's a surprise. Even after I listen to it again, I feel like surprised, like, oh my god, I missed that the first time listening to this. It's kind of a atmospheric adventure in the best possible way.
Thanks for saying that.
Like, your sound generally, right? It's akin to all the shoegaze. Great to me. Like, when I show people that are not necessarily into or know about this type of music that you guys make and the stuff that Lush and My Buddy Valentine make, it's kind of hard to describe and almost hard to understand. So when you guys are talking to people like in your own lives that aren't necessarily familiar with the kind of music you guys make, what is the reaction, and do you find it challenging to discuss what you make with these people?
Yes. I Guy, do you want to answer this one?
What do you got?
Well, I just feel like I never say shoegaze because I don't even think that we are really shoegaze band, um, but people say otherwise. And yeah, most people don't know what that is. And I think I just say rock, which sounds even worse. Um, but alternative, I feel like
Yeah,
is.
I like to say 90s alternative. Like Smashing Pumpkins or, the Cranberries or something, just to give them some context of a ballpark of what genre of music it is, because obviously there's so many different genres and subgenres, and we definitely are in a sub genre of music. So it is very difficult to explain that stuff, especially to my mother.
Yes, your mom knows the Cranberries and the Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah.
She doesn't know Lush.
No,
Well,
no.
I will say this. One time I was driving with my mom, this is years ago, and Slow Dive was playing. I put on Slow Dive just because I wasn't trying to like prove anything. I just put it on, and I didn't explain what was going on. I didn't say who it was. I didn't talk about their style of music. And my mom was listening to it, and she was like, "This is kind of pleasant. This is really cool." Like, I didn't say, "Oh yeah, this is shoegaze. This is this, that, and the third, and whatever. This comes from Cocteau Twins." And da, da, da. I didn't give her the whole gamut. I just let it happen, and she loved it. She thought it was so cool. And conversely, last year when I was in LA hanging out with a friend of mine, I put on My Bloody Valentine, and she was like, "Please stop this right now. This is horrible. I can't stand this. Turn it off." So it's interesting the reaction of the kind of music that you guys make. Um, it's not for everybody, and it fits into certain people's ears, differently. But as far as like sub genre buzzwords and what have you, do you think there's a negative connotation? I mean, do you guys feel the shoegaze term as a negative connotation, or what other kind of sort of rock subgenres do you feel you don't associate with it, that if people describe you as such, you would not accept it?
I do think shoegaze has a negative connotation. I feel like whenever I'm just reading reviews of other bands or checking out blogs, people are like so burned out on that title of shoegaze, and sometimes I wonder if maybe they're burned out on it being used as a descriptor for music that isn't actually shoegaze, um, because it's just like an easy buzzword. And obviously, you know, I feel like when people are writing about music, they just want to include enough ideas to like draw people in. So like something can be shoegaze, dream pop, post punk, whatever, and that'll get a reader excited to maybe want to actually listen to that band. But I don't know. I also think that I've been reading comments here and there. Not I couldn't name what bands. I don't remember, but they're like, God, I can't take another shoegaze band. I don't want to hear this anymore. And I think that maybe a lot of people maybe just didn't like that music to begin with. Um, like I've definitely been a shoegaze fan for like almost 20 years, and just from having listened since high school, and I'm just and you and I have bonded over like how we love the painfulness of like Jesus and Mary Chain's first record, and yeah, I'm just that's just what I like, and I'm always going to be drawn to music that sounds like that. Um, but yeah, I think trends come and go. There's been so many shoegaze revivals over the years, and especially like in the early 2000s or even like 2015, there were so many great bands. Um, but this one has just happened to stick or get more press because of TikTok, maybe. Um, but yeah, I don't really. I'm never mad whenever anyone describes us as something that I wouldn't want to identify with. Like if that's what someone's getting, then great. At least they're talking about it or having some kind of identification or relationship with it.
Let's dive into the trajectory of your work a little bit, right? So the first, this is just my perspective. First two EPs, Blurring and Guided Imagery, very jangle inspired, very jangly, right? But then moving on to For Anyone in You from Opaque, and as a standalone single, that is just crushing, ethereal, atmospheric. Was this journey or sonic trajectory purposeful?
Yeah, I think that when we recorded For Anyone and You, something clicked where I was like, this is what I've always hoped Mo Dotti would sound like, or at least close to it, but it was just always so hard. And with Andrew, who's our drummer, when he like helped us produce that track, it just, um, I don't know, it just felt like more of a collaboration, like where he could, I don't know, we all really worked together to like be really intentional about how we wanted it to sound and like really pushing like the yeah, atmospheric quality of it. I love jangle pop records, and maybe more like punk, like noisy Slumberland, like Pains of Being Pure at Heart. Like I've
Yep.
also always wanted to sound like that too. But I think that we really pushed ourselves to try to make like a beautiful song. that would be kind of like the thesis for this record, our first record. And I feel like that song is that. Yeah.
Yeah, like when I hear like your first EPs and I'm hearing the first LP, I see a growth and an evolution and a change, but like for the better. It seems like you guys were testing something out and like, okay, now you have arrived. You know what you want to do. And I know Gina, when the for anyone in you first came out, I said when I heard it, I still feel this way. It reminds me, it gave me that feeling when I first heard Only Shallow from Loveless, like the exact same feeling. I'm like, okay, wow, what is going on here? I feel this wave, this really just overwhelming nature of sound, this big wall of sound. And that's probably now like my favorite Mo Dotti song. So like with this single here, I know like, yes, you don't guys don't necessarily consider yourselves a shoegaze band, but this is like, the playbook of Kevin Shields. Wouldn't you agree?
Totally. Yeah, I think that the song, that specific song, was supposed to be like kind of like a mixture of Only Shallow and then Crushed by the Brian Jonestown Massacre.
Yeah.
And um, didn't want to obviously make those songs, but we were inspired by those songs, and we're trying to like yeah, kind of just like achieve the weight that those two songs have.
It's like a full bodied composition. It's
Mm-hmm.
so heavy. Yeah, I love that. And your early work is it's lighter, and now it's like rock solid. So the release show for Opaque is coming up, and you're doing it at Non Plus Ultra, which is a nonprofit dedicated to emerging musicians and artists. So, what has this organization meant to you two personally, and as the band, as Mo Dotti, and even the LA community, artistic, musician community as a whole?
It's just, I feel like it's the least pretentious place you could play. Um, Maybe others feel differently. They're intimidated by it because like really cool people run that space. But I just feel like I don't know. It's not a bar. It's all ages. It just feels, I don't know. It just feels like it's about like art and like music or community. You really feel that there. And also the layout is just like there's a lot of room. If you don't want to be in the room with the music playing, you can hang out on the back patio and you can still hear everything perfectly. um, yeah, I would say that that is definitely my favorite venue here, and I'm really lucky that we get to have the show there. I wanted to maybe have it in October, but everyone that runs that space, they do installations for Desert Days. So they were like, "No, you'd have to do it in September because we're all going to be busy with Desert Days." And then Desert Days got canceled. So yeah, now they're trying to fill dates in October, but we're still sticking to the September date. So lots of creative and very kind people um, run that
I
space.
could see where it could be intimidating to some people going there because of just it really does kind of feel like a tiny bit lawless and like kind of like very hip at the same time. And if it's like your first time going out to like a venue that's like that, I mean, even like some of the first times I've ever been to like the Smell back in the day, it was it's a little scary, like you're like, whoa, like it seems like everybody knows everybody, but like you don't know anybody, you know, kind of has that vibe. So but that's also why, I always like the smell, going to the Smell once I got to understand what was happening. And then the same thing with Non Plus. It's moved locations like a handful of times, and each location I feel was like they're all cool, and the vibe was always like right,
Very
and they
positive.
continue to do that. Yeah.
Guy, what do you mean by lawless?
I probably shouldn't say so much actually about that.
It's
Um,
a
Every time when it comes to like community DIY spaces, I just forget to not discuss like some of the unwritten things you're not supposed to discuss. So,
yeah, we've said too much.
disregard.
yeah, I mean, I feel like did you
Just
ever see
bleep
the
all of that.
did you ever see the
Sure.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie
The
when they
recent
go
one?
like
No.
no, like the old one from like
Yeah.
1989 90. There's this part where they go into this like the hangout where like the bad guys live, and it's like a skate park themed. There's like video arcade games. It kind of reminds me of Non Plus Ultra a little bit. If you look it up, you'll agree.
Or in Hey Arnold, when the fourth graders are escaping the trash day from the fifth graders, they go to this like underground makeshift club. So that's what I'm thinking about when
Yes,
when I
that's
Yeah.
picture,
the best show ever.
dude. I'm thinking about being Gerald for Halloween. I just have to get a
Oh,
33
Gerald's the
jersey in
best.
time. Yeah, the
He's the
greatest. That show was
greatest
brilliant.
character ever. Yeah. I just love the
Yeah,
music too, and like the tone of the show. It just, yeah, my childhood.
very
Yours too, I'm
jazzy,
sure.
not
Yeah.
shoegazy. No, I was kidding. Gina, when talking about non plus, you said it was non pretentious. What makes non plus non pretentious?
Mm, doesn't feel. Can I cuss?
Yeah,
It's not starfuckery. Um, I feel like it doesn't feel careerist, and especially in just our geographical location. Yours too in New York. Like it's all about who you know, and maybe people are talking to you. They're looking over your shoulder, being like, "Who's the cooler person I can talk to?" I don't know. I just people they're yeah, they don't. I feel like nobody cares if you're like somebody.
I saw some ultra hip people roll through there once, and they looked really uncomfortable, and it made me happy.
Yes.
Like I definitely remember seeing of this guy from this one band, and he's always been known around town to be kind of like not, very nice to everybody. And when I saw him in there, he just looked so uncomfortable, and it was the best. And then he left like within like a half an hour. It was cool.
love it. Absolutely love it. Do you think this space has been a good place that you can contribute? I mean, attribute the growth of Mo Dotti to non plus.
It's definitely a venue where, I mean, but then again, every time we play a show, we'll play our songs that aren't ready. They'll always be works in progress, and we work them out live. So, yeah, in terms of like being a low pressure or, place to kind of like stumble as you figure out, and a song or, finesse it, it's just, yeah. But really, we do that pretty much every time we play. Well, I guess if we were when we're opening, for Otoboka Beaver, we didn't do that. We didn't take any chances. We made sure that um, we were very confident and had everything dialed in. But yeah, if we're gonna play a song we've never played before, yeah, let's do it at Nonplus the first time or Permanent Records.
What other places do you guys are regulars at in LA? And are good places that are good for the LA music scene?
Permanent
Yeah,
Records,
I think she just named, there's like a holy trinity right now, and it is Permanent
yes,
Records, Nonplus, and Zebulon,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's like basically like the non like, Live Nation venues that at least, we've had a lot of like success at as far as like attendance and just having an all around good show and good time.
Yeah, I think we need more spaces like that. Like here in New
Yeah.
York, unfortunately, like a lot of our music venues are either access Live Nation, etc. There are a lot of small places. There's Elsewhere Hall in Brooklyn, but the thing is, a lot of these spaces are concentrated within Brooklyn. It's kind of hard for a Manhattan like me to get around, but overall, like, I think there needs to be more spaces like that. We need more holy trinities all around, not just
Yeah.
in LA, which is really cool.
Well, and what's
Um,
cool about those three venues
yeah,
too is they're all very close together as well. Like they're not very far apart from each other, like a
love
few
it,
miles.
love it. Like, I know in LA, like, traffic is a big thing, and you have to drive everywhere. When you guys want to go to shows or when you're playing a show, do you find it hard to get around?
Thankfully, no, because the venues that we just mentioned are like all concentrated in like north or east Los Angeles, northeast Los Angeles, and we're in Pasadena, which is like on the border of Highland Park and Eagle Rock. So yeah, very grateful for that. If we're playing, even if we're playing in Echo Park, though, like at the Echo, that's also very easy to get to. As long as there isn't a Dodger game, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
the
it's pretty
Dodger game
easy.
will usually
If we,
ruin everything.
yeah, if
Really?
we're playing on the West Side, which I don't think we have in a very very long time, since maybe before the pandemic, yeah, we have to maybe get there before traffic would start. But sometimes traffic starts at like 1 o'clock. Um, so yeah, try not.
Same in
We
New
don't.
York.
Right. We try not to play in Hollywood. There aren't really places to play in Hollywood unless they're the big venues, where like way bigger bands play.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what's interesting about New York, I guess that's the one of the differences. The Yankees and Mets could be playing at the same time. Wouldn't affect going to a show because there's not a lot of like concert venues that are close to the big ballparks.
Mm.
So that's not really an issue at all. So let's talk about the mastering of this album. It was done by Mark Gardner of Ride. So, were you guys hands on at all with the mastering process, or was it just left up to Mark, and then when he was done, that was that?
Ki kind of yes, but we did exchange a few notes back and forth that most of it was in my head. And we ended up not using the notes that I thought. And but he was very easily to talk to and easy to exchange messages with and very quick to respond to stuff. So it's very, I mean, it's just it's amazing that we're even able to like have someone, at that, like basically like the Mount Rushmore of like, the shoegaze, mountain, to even listen
Yeah.
to our music is just it's just amazing that he listened to it and actually like, fine-tuned the final output of it and made it sound, even better than what it already sounded like. So it's pretty amazing.
What are some takeaways from Mark mastering your album? I know, Guy, you said that it sounded even better than what you would have imagined, but one, was it easy to communicate what you wanted from him? Did he easily understand you guys? And when it was done, what are some things that you may have learned about this experience?
I just used to think that mastering didn't really do anything. Um, and when we were when we were mixing with Joey, who engineered the record, I kept being like, push this. It needs to be bassier. It sounds like, and no, I'm not disrespecting Joey. He was being intentional because he knew that once it got mastered, the other things were going to come out. So yeah, I think the biggest takeaway was Mark really understood how to just like really kind of have the music leap off the page. And uh, I I kind of was like, gosh, maybe we should have not told Joey to turn up the guitar so many times because we kept being like, you do it more, you do more, you do more, and like, But yeah, it all worked out, I think. But it does like sound so loud. It sounds crazy. It sounds really distorted. But it's exactly how I wanted it to sound. I don't know. I just hope that like it's the kind of recording that sounds good to listen to repeatedly, and it's not like totally so grating on the ears.
Yeah, and another thing that Mark said was that you know, kudos to Joey that it's mixed really well, so it's going to be very easy master. And obviously, I think he understands the direction that we're trying to go in, and I think he steered it correctly.
Honestly, like listening to this album, like it's not that taxing on the ears, really. I mean, yes, is it loud? Of course, but it's kind of like I don't know. I love this kind of music. It's like it's very warm into the ear. It's comforting. Yes, it's crazy and chaotic, but it's very it's kind of like sleeping on a nice warm bed. That's
That's
what it feels
nice.
like to me. The one thing I would say, like that we can all learn from Mark and Ride, is how to make a comeback album. Because Weather Diaries in 2017 is unbelievable. It's almost like they haven't been broken up for 20 years at that point.
That's a beautiful record, and the latest one too is great. There's like a couple of songs on there that um, I like. That song "Portland Rocks." That just sounds
Yeah,
like it's from the '90s. It's great. Turned out great.
yeah. So I know you guys pressed up the first two EPs together on vinyl, and you guys did it yourselves. How much did this process mean to you?
Um, well, it was very stressful because it meant so much to us. Like we've been wanting to put out an album for so long and have taken a really long time to do it because it's just you know we spend a lot of time on the songs. Everything is like very precious to us, and it the music is very like I don't know. It's like our child. So I always felt uncomfortable leaving it to a label because I don't know if it would be like as precious to them, or we just never. I just yeah, maybe we just want too much control, but I think that yeah, to be able to release it ourselves was like super important. Maybe it's not the smartest idea in the long run because a label can maybe help you get a little more exposure, and then you're part of like the community of other artists on that label and included in a conversation a bit more. And then distribution is better. Like we're doing the distribution ourselves, so like sending records to England or China, it's like a lot of work, um, and we knew it would be. And but it's yeah, I just don't know if we trust anyone else, or it just never found the right fit.
I feel like at this point, for our band too, it's manageable. It is a lot of work, but it is manageable, and also it's like, I mean, not to sound like lame about it, but it's kind of fun. You get to actually see every single person who wants your record. You get to like, you know, touch the record, put it in the thing, tape up the thing, and send it off. I don't know. It just seems it's fun. It's fun to do all that, and also like it's fun to like you know work on the layout of the record and of the artwork and stuff, and do all that and try to figure it out. And I don't know, the whole process. Although it is stressful, it is still fun to do, and it's manageable at this point. Like I feel like if we were obviously like a band that had like more you know, fans and stuff, and we definitely would need to have a lot more help. But since we're still like a pretty small band, so all this stuff is manageable, and I would suggest for anyone to do the same if they were going to put out a record, because why would you want to like not have your hands on all that stuff, you know? It's like if you have a computer, you can do anything.
That being said, what are some positives and negatives outside of the hard work and the grind of self-releasing your music?
The positives, the main positive is that you get to keep all of the profits for the band itself, because everything that what we make, we put back into the band. We are able to like afford to rent a car to like drive up to San Francisco to play a show, or we can pay for the hotel. Like we save everything for, you know, trips or to buy more tapes. And if we were splitting that with a label, like 50-50, it would be harder to save. Um, the So that's just the main reason why we did it.
Yeah, that's
Um,
that's that's the thing where it was sort of a math equation trying to figure out like how much more of a reach would being on a particular label uh as opposed to what we already have, and then how much will that surpass the amount of money that we get, because it's like a 50-50 split with the label, and with the small amount of money that we make now, it's enough to get by as a band, to maintain all the stuff that we do.
to
But
maintain the
if
band, not
to
our
maintain,
lives, by the
yeah, of
way.
course. Yeah.
Right, right.
But and being on a label, it's possible that, yeah, we might sell like, a few more records, but half of that is going to go to the label, and it's just like, well, I think we would end up, you know, possibly losing a lot of money. Maybe our record not. I don't know. It just seems there's just too much pros of doing it yourself because of what I had said earlier, just about like, working on the artwork and like laying it out and sending it off and having that feeling when the records actually show up to your doorstep, like, here they are. I can't believe we got all these records here. This is amazing. And then shipping
Yeah.
them out. It's just so fun to be involved in all of that now, obviously. If it was like, thousands of records we're shipping out, we might need to figure something out. But for now, it's so easy. It's like it's actually fun. Yeah.
You guys should be very proud of yourselves because Opaque is wonderful. And even if the hard work that y'all put into this and, thinking about who mastered this and you put it out yourselves is just amazing. Um, I want to thank you guys for coming on once again to My Little Underground. This is your time to plug anything you got going on. Let it fly.
Thank you, Peter. We want to plug our record. We have It's a only 300 records. We're almost halfway sold. 100 cassettes, 100 CDs. Get it while you can, because we don't know when we'll be able to repress. It takes a while. Um, yes, please buy the record. And if you have already, like, we are so grateful. And thank you, Peter, for chatting with us. It means the world that you enjoyed the record.
Yes, Mo Dotti is awesome. I love you guys.
We love you too.
My Little Underground.